Well, it's that time of the week again when we get to talk about brand new VR games coming out this week, new VR games coming out next week, and of course on that juicy VR gaming news. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, smash that like, subscribe, and all that good stuff to support these videos. Before we dive into today's video though, I want to thank today's channel sponsor, Frost Survival VR. Isolated, cold and alone, welcome to Frost Survival VR, a brutal sandbox survival experience where your only goal is to stay alive. Build a shelter, hunt to survive, craft weapons and gather resources, and try to hold on to your sanity in this ever-changing frozen wilderness. But it's not just the cold that can break you, you can lose your grip on reality, and the wilderness starts whispering back, neglect your mental health, and the line between real and imagine starts to disappear very quickly. You can survive alone or even team up online to uncover the hidden secrets and survive together. This is available right now to go and wishlist on both Quest and Steam VR, so make sure you go do that. There's also a playable demo that is going to be available till June 18th, so if you want to check this out on Steam VR, then you can dive into the action and actually give this game a go for yourself. All the links for this are in the description or the pinned comment. A massive thank you to them for sponsoring today's video, and now let's dive into new VR games this week. Kicking things off, well, we have Zombie Army VR. This is a game that everyone's been anticipating for quite some time now. It got delayed a little bit and it finally came out, and now, well, it's out, so you can go play it on all platforms. Now, what did I think about this game? Well, there's a few things to wrap up here. First of all, this game looks universally pretty good across all platforms. I wouldn't say it exponentially shines on any particular platform. You know, of course, you have your slight upgrade over the PCVR and PSVR 2 than the Quest, but still, it doesn't really blow up a massive graphical difference between. Now, I will say, my first hour or two in this game I absolutely loved. I really enjoyed myself and I was having an absolute blast just diving into there and experiencing it. I haven't tried this co-op yet, I only played this solo, just to note that. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing this for the first couple of hours. It felt really good. I got up against like a boss fight, I was finding some cool and unique weapons. And then honestly, when I started to get into the last few hours of playing this game, it felt slightly repetitive. Now, I mean, that's always going to be the case when it's a wave shooter where you're just shooting zombies, but the problem really came in with I just didn't feel like I got a lot of new equipment up until very close to the end, and I didn't really get a lot of those boss fight experiences again up until towards the end. So it kind of felt like a little lackluster in the middle, and well, that for me, it didn't really put me off the game because I really like my survival shooters like that, but it did kind of put a little bit of a dampener on it for me. So just be aware that the first couple of hours is really good, the last little bit is very good, but it just kind of drags a little bit in the middle. So it is what it says on the tin at the end of the day. It is a very good zombie wave shooter. It's pretty fun because of all the mechanics like the X-ray kills and all that sort of stuff. Of course, the added bonus is the fact that you can get some friends in there. So all round, it's not a bad game. It's actually pretty fairly priced as well at the moment. So I feel like it's definitely one I can't say no to. Just know what you're getting into. If you really love that sort of zombie, COD zombie styles, you know, going in there, shooting a bunch of Z's, wave after wave after wave, in a few different environments, with a few different weapons, then this one's definitely going to be for you. It is definitely really fun, and I do think this could be sort of enhanced again, the fun-wise, if you had a friend with you throughout the entire experience. So, genuinely, not a bad game. VR gaming news. Well, of course, this is the bit that I always like talking about, and that is the VR gaming news. Now, literally, as I dropped my video last week, we had a bunch of announcements and trailers drop, which is just, you know, the way that it goes. But nonetheless, of course, I get to talk about this week, so I'm pretty hyped. And kicking it off was an announcement from Dreams for a game called Reach. Now, this game for me, I am very, very excited about. This feels like a real AAA sort of feeling game, but it's a brand new IP, but they've put as much effort as you can possibly put into this trailer. So I mean, it definitely amped me up, let's put it that way. Also, personally, I have actually tried this game. I tried it at Gamescom. I didn't actually know what I was trying at the time because they didn't tell me the name of the game, what the game was, the genre or anything. They just put me into this half-an-hour demo and said, what do you think about these game mechanics? At the time, I was quite impressed. I did feel very confused about what the hell I was playing, which was, you know, one thing, but now I fully have the context behind it. I'm very excited about this. It really feels like it's going to hit a bunch of cool notes. Stuff really that I've been missing, which is something like Blood and Truth coming out for a more modern VR. So hopefully they can hit those sort of punches and beats within this game. The idea behind this is you have a bunch of cool weaponry. You're going to have like a bow, you're going to have like a Captain America style shield. You're going to be able to do some proper parkour where they want you to use like your full body to get in there, you know, duck, deave, widge and dodge. I'd said all sorts of weird words there, but you know what I mean. So this one for me is definitely something that I'm hyped about. I just want to get in there and experience this for myself. Of course, with always, you know, take a grain of salt until someone's played this thing fully and able to give you a review, then, you know, it's just hype at the end of the day. But I will say that nDreams does have a habit of delivering pretty decent games, and not only that, I feel like this is like their main effort. This is where they've put all their resources into. Next up, we have Marvel's Deadpool VR. Now, again, this is one I'm actually pretty looking forward to. I've seen a little bit of sway to and fro where people are talking about the style of this game. I have absolutely no issue with it being cel shaded. I actually think it lends quite nicely into this sort of Deadpool universe. Not only that, but some of my favourite Deadpool games are very similar style to this anyway. Not a problem to me at all. The only real thing that I really did wish that they had was Ryan Reynolds voicing Deadpool. There's even like a little comedy skit that Ryan Reynolds made where he was sort of like saying to Neil Patrick Harris, "You just stole my role, bro." So clearly the dude did kind of want to make it, but you know, it was all done in jest and lightheartedness. It's just a shame. Probably just honestly too expensive to have Ryan Reynolds come and voice a game. But nonetheless, Neil Patrick Harris is not actually a bad alternative when it comes down to voicing this game, as the guy is pretty damn witty. His characters that he's always played in movies and TV are pretty similar-esque anyway to that sort of wittiness and dry and freaking crude humor that comes with being Deadpool. So I still think this is going to make for a good game. Other than that though, it does look like a really interesting game. It looks like it's got some fun mechanics, and it looks like it kind of gets that brutality down, and it's definitely vulgar enough to make it a Deadpool game. So I'm looking forward to this personally. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Next up, in a surprise announcement, we got a new game announced at AWE, and that is What Comes After. This game looks really fascinating to me, and even the description behind this kind of gets me excited, because I feel like this is really sort of like accesses the kind of players we have in virtual reality right now. Now, this game not only looks pretty damn good, it kind of has that sort of feeling of Last of Us. You know, I'm just saying, like, that sort of universe building, it looks, you know, pretty similar, or at least inspired by. On top of that, you're going to be fighting two types of enemies inside of this game: the people, like the human types of enemies, and I think the, like, I'm going to call them zombies, but I don't think they are in this game. They call them something different, but essentially like, you know, that zombie type character. The idea behind this one is you're going to go in and have like 15-minute missions where you're going to go in. Your job is obviously to exfil, but I think you have to go in there with a mission, go and get something, and there'll be like a small puzzle to solve along the way, as well as surviving. It looks quite cool in the sense that you're going to be literally doing things like loading your magazine bullet by bullet. I love stuff like that. Into the Radius absolutely nails it, and a few other survival games have really picked up on how good that mechanic is. So having something where you actually feel like you're properly packing for this 15-minute mission, I feel like would be really cool. So infantry based, like, make sure you put all your stuff correctly in your stuff, and then on top of that, just sort of getting in there into this sort of like gritty world, surviving for 15 minutes and getting out. Now, the reason I think that part's kind of exciting is a lot of people just don't have a busting amount of time to jump into a VR game for hours on end. So having something that's broken down into those sort of smaller segments, I think could actually lend itself to being something that's way more enticing to people, to be able to chuck the headset on for 15-20 minutes, boom, get your stuff together, get in, do a mission, get out and feel happy about it. So I quite like that idea behind this. Next up, in a surprise collaboration, Battlegrounds VR, which is pretty much the ultimate free-to-play game. I can say that because I work for the studio, but in my opinion it is the ultimate free-to-play game, have just collaborated with Blade and Sorcery. So this, I think, is the first time in history anyone's collaborated with Blade and Sorcery between VR games, and not only that, it's a really like perfect mashup. Two medieval fighting games coming together. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what Battlegrounds VR is, this is a free-to-play game where you get in there and, well, I'm going to explain it to you. There's a lot to it. You have a ton of awesome gadgets that you can play with. You have this grappling hook mechanic that allows you to move around the map literally like Spider-Man, and on top of that, then you have a medieval fighting style game to this as well, where you can sword fight, you can 1v1, PvP, and then on top of that there's like boss battles, there's mining you can get up to be able to ore resources to be able to buy the equipment that you want, and even a new added dungeon that come with this update as well, where you can now fight like goblins and these flying beholders. There's a ton to this game. Really, I highly recommend you give this a go. I know I'm biased because I work for the studio, but genuinely this is a banger of a game. And for free, you really can't go wrong. Just get in there, give it a go, and let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Next up, a little bit of news on Titan Isles. If you're unfamiliar with this game, it's the same people that made Windlands 1 and Windlands 2. Solid games, by the way. If you haven't experienced them, go and play them. But this is their brand new title that they've been working on for years and years in the background, and it's looking like a freaking awesome game. I'm really excited for this, but the news that came out this week is that it's not only going to be coming to PC and Quest, it's now coming to PSVR 2 as well when it releases later this this year. Very, very excited about this. You should definitely have it on your wish list, or at least keep your eye out on, because this game is just going to be a solid experience. I know that because, well, the developers behind it are really solid developers. I love Windlands 1 and 2. This is going to have some of the best parts of those games extracted into it, with a bunch of cool new stuff added on top of that. You're going to be fighting titans, which is freaking awesome. And on top of that, just a great game where you can get in there solo or with your friends to experience it. Really looking forward to this one. Can't wait to actually give it a go. Coming up next week. Well, unfortunately, coming up next week is a bit of a dry week unless we get any surprise announcements. We have things to look forward to, such as the Smurfs Flower Defense. Well, if you're unfamiliar with this game, well, it's the Smurfs in a tower defense game style game. This is going to be both VR and mixed reality, and I feel like it's probably a very low effort game. I gotta say, it doesn't look exactly like a high effort game, but hey, maybe I'll be wrong. I don't want to, poop on it too hard, but at the end of the day, I've said this multiple times at this point, who the hell asked for this game to be made, and do they really expect to sell many copies? The target audience isn't playing VR because they're 4, and I think outside of that, there's not many people that really want the combination of a tower defense and the Smurfs. Having Gargamel and Azrael chase you down, whatever. Well, you know what? It's coming out next week, so if you're excited for it, hype it up in the comments. Next up, we have Badminton VR. This is coming out for the PSVR 2, and genuinely, if you like badminton, I feel like this is actually a pretty, the best version of a VR game that you could probably get for it. It's got a ton of mini games in it. You can play cooperative with your friends, and there's a load of training and stuff like that as well. It actually looks pretty fun. I mean, I'm not really massively into badminton, nor would I really spend a lot of time on something like this in VR, but I will say it does look well made, and if this is your kind of bag, and if you just want to get in and get active with a friend, then actually fair play. This looks like a pretty cool game for what it is. While it's not particularly my style of game, I do think it's done pretty well. And there you have it, guys. That is the weekly roundup for this week, and I mean, a pretty exciting one nonetheless. I know the end of week news there was a bit meh, but when it comes to things in general, we've got Deadpool coming, we've got Reach coming, we've got so many other amazing titles still to come this year, and also we had Resident Evil 9, which was announced on the PS showcase, and of course that's probably going to get a VR mode. I mean, I'm like 99.9% sure we're going to get a VR mode for that, so fear not. I know it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm pretty sure it's coming. So yeah, other than that, guys, if you enjoyed this weekly news roundup, smash that like button. It really does help support these videos, and of course subscribe if you are new. Other than that, let me know in the comments down below what you're going to be playing this weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out. Bye.